So this is an overview video for Midjourney, one of the most popular AI art generation tools that's out there, along with dall-e 2 by OpenAI, as well as what Google Brain has been working on developing for the last little bit. So I hope you find this overview, the introduction, beneficial as you start your journey in the world of AI art generation. All right, so the way to access Midjourney is through Discord. Why Discord? Because it's an easier and a quicker access. What is Discord? Discord is actually a chat bot, a messaging system, interactive messaging system. However, it has an option for you to link up third-party apps for quicker and easier access. So, how do you access Discord first? You just have to get into discord.com, and I'll have all the links below in the description so you can have easier access to them. But when you first come in, you're given an option here. Either you have to register if you're a brand new user, or if you're like me, that you have an account already, you can just simply type in your email or phone number and the password that you use to register and log in. So let's just assume that we are coming in for the first time. So you click on that register down below, and you provide with your email address as well as your preferred username and password along with your date of birth. So once you have done that, then you can come back and you can type in your email address or phone number as well as your password and log in. So I'm just going to log in right now with my email address. Then you can log in. So I'm just going to say don't save. Now this is how Discord looks when you first come in. Now that's just getting you set up with Discord account, so you have access to Discord. Now I should mention that there are two versions of Discord. You can either go with your web browser version, which is what we are looking at right now. Alternately, you can download Discord, which by the way I've done here, by downloading the app. I find it to be easier for me to access as opposed to going through a browser. So that's the first step. Now the second step is for you to be set up with Midjourney. So you have to create a profile here as well. Now, this is that link, midjourney.com. And what you do the first time, you just click on sign with Discord. And you're going to be asked to authorize Midjourney by clicking on the button below here so that you can access Midjourney through Discord. So you just click on authorize. Now, once you have authorized Midjourney, you're actually brought back into your profile through Midjourney app. Now, these are some of the photos I actually rendered using Discord Midjourney, but you have an easier way for you to access them through your profile directly. And we'll come back to that in just a moment. So the next thing that I do, and that we have to do, is click on this link below to officially allow Discord to have a connection through Midjourney, so you can start using Midjourney and start creating your own photos. So the link, once again, I'll have it below in the description, is here. So I'm just going to click on that. And now you're actually brought back into Midjourney using Discord. So that's how it looks right now. You can see there are many different options here. Now, a few things that I should mention. There is a trial support, and if I click on that, this is obviously where you come in. If you have any sort of question about Midjourney, you just come in here and you can provide your question here. This is also the place where you can go and request for a subscription. And we'll get back to subscription in just a moment, but I wanted to share with you some of the other features here. So when you're first getting in, you're using their free access. Now, obviously, there are limitations with the free access. You are limited, I believe, to 25 photos that you can generate, no more than that. That's where the subscription part comes in. But there are also other options here. If you notice, if you want to create your own photos, just come into one of these rooms, newcomer rooms. For example, newbies 49 is one that I see people are using right now and generating their own photos through Midjourney. And also, you can offer feedback. There is a discussion and all sorts of stuff here as well. So, the one that I wanted to show you first before we come back here and start generating our own photos is to go into trial support. And this is where you can come in, as I mentioned previously, that you can ask all sort of questions. But what you can also do, you can look at your subscription options here. So if you type in /sub in the fields, then you click on enter. So the subscribe option comes in, and that's where you can go and click on that open subscription page. By the way, you notice that someone else has started posing questions or offering ideas right after me because it's an open chatbot. Anyone who's posing any other questions after me is going to show up there as well. So let's just click on that open subscription. Now, these are all the different options for you to subscribe. There are standard plans and enterprise plans. Now, we are going to be limited to standard plans for now. And there are two options here for your standard plan. There is a basic membership, which is $10 a month. Now, this limitation, the limit is 200 images per month that you can generate or render through Midjourney. And with the standard membership, however, there is unlimited usage, but do keep in mind it costs a bit more. It's $30 a month. And you can also have access gallery. Now, let's just go back into Midjourney through Discord. Now, this is where you come in and you start generating your photos. Now, as much as I'd like to say, you just come in here and you type in your description, there are some prompts that you have to follow. It's not as straightforward. You just have to get used to some basic commands. So the first one and the most important one is to type in imagine. And as soon as you start typing in imagine, the prompt will show up. And this is where you start typing in your request. So for example, I'm going to say Michael. Let's just keep it simple for now. And I'm going to say here, Michael Jackson singing in front of a large crowd. Now that's simple enough, and that's okay. You don't necessarily have to go with any other instructions, which I'll cover in just a moment, but you can just leave it at that and you click enter and you scroll to the bottom to see, and there should be somewhere in there that you should see that Midjourney took your instruction and has started rendering the photo for you. So the challenge with the open access is because it's a shared room, you're going to have to see everyone else's commands. And as you can imagine, there are tens of commands being issued at the same time. So you have to scroll down to see if you can find your command because it's saying you're still viewing older messages. So I'm just going all the way down here, and there should be an instruction coming in from me. Let's just see. See, I can already see some people are rendering photos. And there we go, Michael Jackson. So this is where you can see Michael Jackson singing in front of a large crowd. There are multiple options that are given to you. So that's how you start issuing your commands. You can keep it as simple as that. There are additional items that you can add, but for now, I just issued a basic command and it came back with a few choices there. Usually there are four. And at that point, you've got a choice. You can either select the one you like the most, and you can upscale it so you can make it a bit nicer, or you can regenerate a version. And there are four options for each. For upscaling, there are four options. For variations, there are four options, and that goes by the frame. So this is frame 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's say you like frame 2 the best. So you can go upscaling frame 2 and see what you get back. And by the way, one thing I should mention as we are upscaling it is that anything that you generate is an interpretation of your command by Midjourney, the AI app, and it is not simply adding existing photos, it's creating its own brand new photos. So what that means, the second time you issue the same command, chances are they're not going to look the same. Every time you're going to get three different or four different versions of the photo offered to you, and they're not going to look the same every time if you were to issue the same command. So that's something to keep in mind. Now let's see if my command went in or not. So if I scroll down, once again, you're sharing it with many other people. So let's see if I can find mine here anywhere. As you can see, some people are offering their own requests that you get to see, and you can learn a bit from them as well. So look at that. Now you can scroll up and you can upscale to max. There are many different options, and I'm not asking you that you have to be an expert right off the bat. You just start using like any other app, and you start learning different commands that you can use. So you can go upscale to max. So now there should be another version of that photo somewhere down here, and my request should start generating. And when it starts generating, you can see it's got a clocker. It tells you how much of it has been rendered so far, 12% for this person who requested something else. And you should be able to see yours at some point once the system takes your request. Okay, so here it is. It is still upscaling it. Right now it's sitting at 36%. And once it's done that, guess what? You have that shared with everyone else in this room. In fact, everyone else throughout Midjourney, anyone else can come into this room and access your command, access your photo, and they can download it just as much as you can because it's open source. It's a free access for everyone through Creative Commons. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, assuming that it's done 100%, one way to download this photo is to go back to your Midjourney profile. If you remember that we were in our profile, as you can see, these are some of the older photos that I generated. And what you can do, you can refresh it. And here you go. You see your own photo here too. So you get the four versions that you initially generated and the upscale version. I believe it's done. If I go back into here, into my Discord version, and I find my photo here, is it done? Yes, it is done 100% with upscaling it. So at that point, what you can do, once you've generated that photo, you can download it. So you just click on those three dots below, and you can either copy or you can save the image. In this case, I'm going to save the image, and it's going to put it straight into your download folder. And that's the name, Michael Jackson. That's the way they create the name. So if I open that file here, you can see that it's already been saved under your download folder there. So it's something to keep in mind. Now, where it gets a bit more interesting is when you start getting into the details of the photos that you're trying to render. And that's where I'm going to go back into Discord. Here, what I can do, for example, I can issue many different types of commands, and I'm going to link up something that I found quite interesting because I'm so new to Discord as well as Midjourney. Some of the commands that you can issue to to generate different versions of the arts or paints that are being generated by Discord. And I'm going to actually share it with you so we can go through some of that stuff real quick, and you get to see how easy it is once you get the hang of it, how easy it is for you to play with it. So let's just go back into a folder where I believe I saved it. So let me see if I can find it here. Okay, it's not here. Okay, let me see if it's here. Yes. So this is where you can come in and some of the advanced prompts that you can issue. I found a link issued by Lars Nielsen, and it offers you some basic information about how this is done. So you can stylize, you can change the resolution, you can change the aspect ratios, you can do so much. You can pass an image, existing image through the prompt as a URL, so it can pick up that and it takes your instruction and it starts generating its own version of the photo. You can apply weights to the image prompts and you can do all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to once again link up below. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of the items that he has covered, but it's not too long. It gives you very detailed idea as to what are some of the options that you can issue. So now let's go back into Discord. Let's play with it a little bit more and make it a bit more interesting. So what we can do here, and I've done it before, so I'm just gonna go back and say, let me see if I can find it. I have some neat stuff that I worked with. So I'm just gonna look up some of the items that I thought of to make it a bit more interesting. So, okay, let's take the same photo that I created, right? So I'm going to go back and click imagine again to bring up the prompt. So I can say Michael Jackson singing in front of a large crowd. But here I'm going to stylize it a little bit. I'm going to say make it, let's see, Japanese. I think that's an option here. Give me one moment here. I'm just going to check GB style. Is a type of anime. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to say make it higher resolution. So I'm going to go 8K and 4K. So again, there's so many different options that you can play with. Let's just leave it at that and see what we get back with this new request. See, it has picked up my request. It is working through those four, but I'm curious to see what type of anime is generated through this. So let's see. I don't see mine yet. And you can see you can go ultra photorealistic. You can do so much. So we're going to play with it a little bit to see if it's going to take my request and do something else. So there we go. Michael Jackson singing in front of a large crowd, Japanese chibi style, 8K, 4K. Okay, so there you go. You can see that it came up with anime style. So you can do that as well. All right, so coming back to Midjourney through my profile, once again, I do see the chibi style Michael Jackson photos, the four photos that were generated by Midjourney. So that's it for now. I hope you find this video beneficial if you're just starting out with Midjourney and you wanted to get a sense of how it works. I hope this video accomplishes that. And if you find this beneficial, please feel free to let me know. Feel free to comment as well, subscribe and like. Thank you.